Hey guys, so what I'm going to show you how to do is how I made the skirt super puffy, not using a traditional petticoat, but just something that I personally use to make the skirt turn from this, will turn into that from this. So as you can see, this is really not puffy and it's just kind of dull. So as I said, I'm not going to be making a traditional petticoat. You can definitely do that, but this is just something that I like to do for my shorter skirts to get them super puffy because that's what I personally think is adorable, the little cupcake style. So right here what I'm doing is I'm measuring out about 5 yards and then I'm folding the tulle up so it's easier for me to cut out. And then what I'm going to do is measure out 5 inches for the tulle, and then I'm gonna do that a few times because I'm gonna make a little ruffle for the bottom so that it pokes out underneath my fabric. And I'm doing 5 inches because when I fold my fabric ruler, I like the 2.5 inches for this type of look that I'm going for. And so I'm just going to cut out a crap ton of strips of tulle for my little ruffles. So as you see, I'm starting the process of getting my ruffles ready. I did have a little issue right here where my machine decided to screw up on my thread. Words escape me sometimes, but it screwed up on my thread, so I had to undo that. But now I'm just getting my ruffles ready. This is an older machine that I never use except for anything but ruffles, and you can see that I have 4 pieces of tulle lined up on top of each other. So when I fold it up, it's actually going to be 8 pieces of tulle. You can do as many as you want, but this is just what I'm doing for this one. You can also see in the background my half painted green wall. Ignore that. I actually just painted it rose gold today, so my walls aren't all green and pink anymore. It's now fully pink. Okay, so you can see this is the amount of ruffles that I ended up making. It was about 7 yards of ruffles. I didn't record this part, but this is going to be my skirt. This is also 5 yards, and I'm going to cut it to 8 inches. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is sew the ruffles onto that little piece of fabric that I just cut for the skirt. And it's going to be quite a process because it is about 5 yards total, but I like to have my skirts be 5 yards because I just feel like it gives it so much more volume. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unfold the ruffles. That way I don't have to worry about it when I'm actually attaching the skirt. So what I'm going to do is after I'm done unfolding the ruffles, I'm going to attach the edges of the skirt together, and I'm going to be sewing it together to make it one big long piece instead of separate. And then of course I'm gonna sew that piece together. As you can kind of see, I'm actually watching Pirates of the Caribbean in the background because I like to watch movies while I'm sewing, and I have my machine set up right next to my computer so I can do that. So I do a little back stitch, and then I'm going to do a regular stitch just to make sure that the edges do not unfold. Okay, so at this point in time, I have it all together, and so what I'm going to be doing is attaching it to the skirt itself. I'm attaching it where the ruffles face out because I don't want the edge of where I sewed it to the skirt to be pointing out. And I'm actually gathering it and I'm attaching it to the actual skirt with the the strawberry fabric, not the cupcake. You can use a sewing machine to kind of help you do like a long stitch to gather it. That is totally up to you, but I prefer to hand gather like this just because I feel as it gives me more control to actually get the resulting look that I want. So I just gather it by essentially pleating it until it's all. So this is the part that takes me the longest, honestly, for the skirt, is hand pleating it to the actual dress itself. But I like to take my time with it because I have a very certain look that I want for my designs, and this helps me achieve that look. So this is sort of another angle of what the pleats are going to look like as I'm sewing them on. I am sort of putting them in between the lining and the main skirt with the ruffles facing outward to add sort of a more fluffy, whimsy look. Okay, so at this part, I'm already done adding all the gathers to the skirt, and I'm just going to be sewing that in to make sure it's attached. And what I'm going to be doing right here is get more tulle out from the bolt, and then I'm going to be cutting it 5 inches long. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to be adding these as strips to tulle to the bottom of the skirt, and you're going to see what I mean here in a moment. So they don't have to be exactly 5 inches. It's okay if they be a little ragged. They're not going to be that noticeable. But what I'm doing now is I'm going to cut them by 24 inches. The reason that it's going to be 24 inches is because I have my skirt length as 12 inches and I'm going to double it up. Okay, so right here, what I am doing is attaching those lengths of tulle that we just cut. And the reason I did not record most of it is because my camera battery died, but you can kind of see the end result. I am attaching it in between the tulle skirt that we made right before this, and in between the lining. And what I'm doing right here is I'm just sewing it in to make sure that it's all secure. I do, of course, want to remind everybody, if you're doing this, please make sure you remove all the pins. You guys probably already know this, but don't want to stab anybody on accident when they try on your dresses. Okay, so at this point, I am fully done. You can see how poofy it is, and it's something that I would wear if it was in my size. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching, you guys. I hope this really helped you out for making your own little dresses super poofy. This works the same for adult versus kid dresses, but obviously this is a child size. I'm going to be adding more tutorials, so don't be afraid to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.